What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today for another edition of the weekly sports card market update. Recording this one much later than normal. It was the wife's birthday on Saturday. I had a local card show in the morning. Then we went out to dinner, had some other running around to do, and I am just getting to this one at halftime of the Cavs game, trying to squeeze this one in. And your 10-0 Cleveland Cavaliers, though the Nets are giving them a fierce little battle. Card show today, local show, was actually pretty busy. This is the Hartville show, so it is located in a flea market, so it's always a little bit tricksy to tell the overall volume because you get the mixed crowd. The one big takeaway, the most busiest table in the entire room was the Pokemon table. Pokemon and TCGs in general, but specifically Pokemon right now, is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I've shared a few videos of people fighting over pallets of Pokemon at Costco. Pokemon prices are going out of control. Maybe I'll do a little Pikachu and Charizard pricing update sometime this week because the sealed boxes on the modern sets continue to go crazy. Same with Magic collector booster boxes. The Pokemon / TCG market in general is extremely hot at the moment. The other hot thing from the show, which this is no surprise, we just talked about it here, Cavs cards. A lot of people were hunting for Cleveland Cavaliers stuff. It's a local show, and the Cavs are hot, playing really well after just kicking the crap out of the Golden State Warriors, so that was no surprise either. Got a bunch of news to talk about. We got some hot off the presses breaking news about Fanatics events. So we'll go ahead and dive into that stuff first. But before we do that, shout out to today's channel partner, comc.com. Your home for buying, selling. They got it all. Sports, non-sports, Marvel, and they are gearing up for Black Friday. I know it kind of sounds crazy to say that, but they are gearing up for their annual Black Friday sales. Go check this out over on the ComC blog. There is just too much here to cover, but you can see they are doing their free shopping credit, their earned credit for spending money, free promos from sellers. So it is a good time to gear up and get ready to do some buying and selling over on ComC. I know I will be looking for some deals when Black Friday rolls around. And just, even outside of ComC, not a bad time to kind of hold some cash back. Black Friday is going to be here sooner rather than later. Last year was kind of weak on wax deals across the board. The year before was really good. So we'll have to see what this year has in store for us in regards to Black Friday sales from the big boys like David Adams and Blowout, etc. And some of your local shops. I've gotten great deals on Black Friday, specifically on TCG wax on that weekend, where they will run sales for Small Business Saturday or Cyber Monday or whatever, and get some pretty good deals on sealed product that way. So get ready for Black Friday. ComC is gearing up. They do a tremendous job on Black Friday stuff. Let's start with the National first, because it's a little cleaner, and it kind of leads into the Fanatics event stuff, which is the juicier half of this. The National announced earlier this week, 1, tickets are going on sale pretty soon, so get ready for that. And 2, they are adding 75 new tables specifically for dealers on the wait list. Now, this new batch of tables will be in the upstairs area. There is a second floor to that convention center. If you've gone to, and I haven't been, but from what I've been told, the Chicago Sports Spectacular uses that area. They're going to put those tables up there. So the National is expanding, getting some new blood into the system. And remember, too, the Chicago National has more floor space, so they can naturally hold more dealers anyway. Some dealers got cut from the show last year because Cleveland was a smaller footprint. Now they go back to the larger footprint, plus they're adding another 75 tables on top of that. So good to hear, good to see. Get ready to get your National tickets pretty soon. I know I already have at least a hotel locked down for that event. I can't cancel it if I want to, if I find something else better. But for right now, I am locked in already for Chicago next year. Speaking of, and we got a lot to unpack here, Fanatics events. So a couple of different things have happened over the last few days. This was floating around on Instagram from North Shore Cards. So Fanatics cancels the Orlando show because of air quote weather. Then they fire all the show staff and won't do any shows in the future. Shit company. Where are our refunds for the table we paid on the show you canceled? Now that part I don't have any information on. Let's talk about Fanatics events for a minute. I posted this on social yesterday, both on Twitter and on Instagram. If you're not following me there, you should be. The word on the street, and I have heard this from multiple sources from multiple different angles, so I feel fairly confident in this one. Fanatics events will be moving their show up from August next year to get in front of the National. My best guess, and I'm about 98% sure I know the exact date, but I'm not going to go quite that far. It's going to be in late June sometime. Mid to late June is my hunch / what I am hearing in regards to when Fanatics events will happen. Or Fanatics Fest, I should say. Fanatics Fest New York is targeting a late June show date to get in front of the National. Now, in regards to this particular post, that they got rid of their show staff, I have also heard that they did let a decent chunk of the events staff go. It sounds like, from what I can piece together from everything, their focus in 2025 is going to be events, not shows, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is, I would not be surprised if the only shows, in quotes, that we get from Fanatics are the tentpole ones. We will probably get one at WrestleMania. They're going to run back New York. Maybe we get something around the All-Star game. I don't know on that at all. But I think they are really going to scale back and focus on a couple tentpole events next year, and that's it. I do not expect any card shows, at least in the first half to 3/4 of the year. Any normal, when I say card shows, like a traditional style card show, like what they were trying to do in Orlando. I would be shocked if the Orlando show comes back, at least in 2025, and definitely not in the first half of 2025. It sounds like they're basically resetting the board and focusing strictly on more the event side of Fanatics events and not the show side, if that makes sense. So major shakeup there. And like I said, New York City still sounds like it's going to happen. That'll be moving up to late June. Sounds like WrestleMania is going to happen. Beyond that, everything is a question mark. And like I said, it does sound like there was a shakeup on the staff as well, where they let some people go. If you're not running card shows, you probably don't need as big of a staff. If you were just doing event style shows, you don't need card show specific people for that. So that is where we currently sit with Fanatics events. That could all change at any point in time. I am recording this late Saturday. That is the best information I have at the time that I hit record. So that is where we sit with that. Curious for your thoughts and comments on that whole situation down below. Speaking of Fanatics, Bowman Draft went on sale this week, obviously. A lot of talk about the pricing on that product. Love it, hate it. A lot of people skipped on it. I did that video about it. A lot of people said they passed on it as well. Up next and dropping this week, Topps Chrome Update. Now, they have jacked the prices on this stuff from the initial pre-sale. So if you didn't do the initial pre-sale, you really kind of missed out. Hobby boxes are up to $199. Jumbos are at $420. My plan here is, I don't know that I'm going to enter the Fanatics drop. I might. I'm going to wait. I still have a couple days, even at time of recording. You're going to have about 2 full days. I am going to wait to see if they put it up on Topps or not. and kind of play my ear from there. It'll be priced the same. It's just more getting it directly through Topps. I just kind of know if I got the product or not versus the product drop. I might enter in for the product drop for one or two. I don't think I'm going to go crazy at these prices. I do also have a couple $100 in MVP buybacks that I'm going to use at one of the local LCSs here to pick up some Topps Update Chrome. But I would like to rip at least a little bit of this product. I do have some mega boxes on order coming in, so I will definitely open those. But I would like to open some hobby as well. Skeens will obviously be the big chase. The checklist is fairly loaded. Friend of the channel, Williamson, had a really informative couple of posts about this and Bowman over on Instagram. So if you don't follow him, he's a big baseball guy, obviously. Key member of the Spitball and Cards podcast / YouTube channel. He did a nice breakdown over there. Long story short, he thinks Update's a little overpriced at these current market prices. But Degen's going to Degen, and I would rather Degen on a $200 box of Update Hobby than a $550 box of Bowman Draft. That's just me. You might feel differently about it. Did a video on this already, so we'll just touch on this very briefly. PSA is getting into the witnessed autographed business. This is basically like CGC Signature Series, but it looks like PSA is getting into it. Kind of makes sense with them. With them bringing comics online, they are debuting this on the card side. I think it'll be fairly successful. It's all going to depend on which athletes and pop culture actors, actresses, etc. that they can get through the door to do signings, but a nice new addition into their repertoire. I don't have it pulled up here, but we obviously had the news of the CGC layoffs. I did a video about that yesterday. One quick thing I want to just add to that, because I saw a lot of people commenting on, wow, well, their card business did this or their card business did that. Don't forget, we look at CGC, or at least a bulk of my audience sees CGC only as a card grading company. Let's not forget their bread and butter is actually the comic book side of things. That drives more of their overall revenue than anything else does. They are the king of the world in the comic book side. So don't think that this was card exclusive decisions being made. And like I said in yesterday's video, the way that I understand it, most of the people that were let go were positions that kind of floated between both sides of the world, if that makes sense. With that being said, let's go ahead and move into the charts and graphs portion of the video. We're going to dive into market movers. Link is in the description down below. If you want your own charts and graphs to play around in, you can get a 2-week free trial, or you can get 20% off for the life of your subscription. If you don't like it, you can always cancel it. That's the best way to check it out. Let's start with basketball first. First up, looking at a handful of guys that actually have seen some price increases to the start of the season. And it's a lot of the younger guys. A lot of the guys from the most recent draft classes from 2020, 2021, etc., that have not had inflated prices already. It's very similar to how we see it in football. The guys that already have a lot baked in aren't the prices that are going to go up once the season starts. You want to find the guys that are undervalued or maybe haven't quite broken out yet or shown flashes or whatever the case might be. Those are the ones that are going up the most. Now, Darius Garland, you're going to see here a little bit of error reporting on the last sale of $13 on his PSA 10 Silver Prism. The last sale is at about $70 to $80. That is what they are currently running. So he is actually up slightly over the last couple of weeks to start the season. He is obviously playing extremely, extremely well. Alfred Sengun up 25%, having a very strong start to the season after coming back from an injury-plagued season last year. My boy Evan Mobley up 83%. A lot of 2021 guys seeing nice increases across the board. Jalen Johnson up about 30%, having a breakout season for the Hawks. Jalen Green, once again, also repeating myself, having a breakout season for the Houston Rockets, following up a strong finish to last year's season. And Chet Holmgren also having a really good start to the season. The Thunder look absolutely amazing, and Chet has been a big part of that. His stuff is also up about 30%. So recent rookies that haven't gotten a ton of buzz and hype, these were not the guys that were super hot on product release day, but they have developed over the last few years. And I think we all get wrapped up in the NBA world of these guys being instantly good day one. And in the NBA, that is not always the case. Most of these guys take a few years to marinate before they really start breaking out. And when it comes to buying to flip, I think that is where you are better off kind of putting your money rather than buying the guys that already have a ton of expectations built into them, like a Luka or Zion. Just came out earlier today. Zion is out indefinitely with another hamstring injury. Continues to have massive injury problems. Currently going for about $300 for his PSA 10 Silver Prism. I expect that to probably drop again given this news. And it was just kind of funny. I wanted to look at all data on this card. Currently a $300 PSA 10 Silver. The number, I think I still get stunned when I look back at these like all data charts. It is crazy to think exactly how much this stuff was selling for in the peak pandemic market. I mean, look at this. Multiple sales above $4,000. Multiple sales, tons of sales above $3,000. I mean, absolutely wild stuff. On debut, it was going for around $2K. I mean, as late as, let's see, this is January 2022. Still going for 1.6K. And then when did it drop? I kind of like seeing these big tier drop-offs. And then it went to, the beginning of the 2022 season. It was down to 900. And then just dropped. Another almost $600 another year later. And it's going to take another big drop again. It was at about 450, 500 just a couple of months ago. At the end of August, beginning of September, it was 450-ish right before the season started. And now it's already down another $150 as we go straight to Zero Town. The amount of money that went crazy over Zion back in the peak of the pandemic is absolutely insane. I wonder if, I'm trying to think of, especially given the hype, the amount of cards printed and all that stuff, of the ultra modern athletes across all sports, has anyone, and please feel free, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, is there anyone that has cost collectors, flippers, whatever you want to call it, more money than Zion? When you think of the pop counts, the number of sets, the amount of hype, the wax, all of it, is there anyone that has cost the hobby more than Zion cards? Let that marinate for a minute. If you think of some good names, throw them in the comments down below. My bet would be Zion would be number one because of the amount of the money stuff was going for and the amount of cards that he had on the market. Could be wrong, but that's where my gut goes, is straight to Zion. Maybe I'm forgetting someone obvious. And I think it would be basketball over any other sport because the pop counts are a lot higher on basketball than, say, football. Speaking of football, yikes. Let's check in on some of the favorite quarterbacks over the last 30 days. Silver Prism PSA 10s. Tua down 47%. He is back now. He's looked okay, but obviously there is a lot of fear with Tua with ongoing concussions. Anthony Richardson now to the bench is down 40%. We'll see if he comes back this season or not. My sneaking suspicion is Flacco starts for a couple games and they end up bringing Richardson back. Stroud now down to $500 as he continues to look kind of mediocre-ish without Nico and a lot of other injuries on that team. And then I haven't talked about him for a while. Will Levis, who I saw is just getting ready to come back from injury, he is now down to $45 on his PSA 10 Silver Prism. Rough stuff there. Jaden Daniels. I was just curious to kind of see how his Tops Now stuff has been going. We talked about this card about a month ago when he initially popped off on the Hail Mary and stuff, how all this stuff was going crazy. They have come down, but they're still doing pretty okay. His PSA 10 draft Tops Now is still doing $188. That's the dark blue line. You can see how they spiked and it's kind of yo-yoed around a little bit, and it has recently come back down again. But the fact that that card's still doing $190 seems pretty solid. And then the first Panini Instant that he did has also seen a recent drop, but it's still going for around $100. I mean, $10 for the card, $15, $20 to grade it. You're into it for 30, and PSA 10s are doing 100, and we all know Tops Now gems at like a 90% gem rate. So if you send a bunch of those things in, you're probably actually doing pretty good on that card. So if you pick the right players and you can kind of time the market correctly, some of that Tops Now stuff is absolutely a play. No baseball this week, as I want to keep this one a little bit shorter so I can get back to my Cleveland Cavaliers, as the second half has now started and they are losing to the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see how that finishes up. Baseball right now, the big thing is the Juan Soto offseason watch. I think that is going to dominate the offseason talk, and we'll have to wait to see where that plays out. There's been all kind of weird Twitter rumors about he's never going back to the Yankees. He's going somewhere else. We'll see how all that plays out. There is obviously a lot of other hot stove stuff brewing, but the Soto thing is going to dominate the news outlets and probably also the card world until that gets situated. And we will see what team he heads off to. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.